If there's one thing that I wish more founders understood and knew and tracked about churn is what their actual churn profile looks like. What do I mean by this? The way that I like to think about churn, it's not just a single number that you think, hey, these amount of customers left, here's the percentage of our churn. Yes, that is a global piece of data that you can be tracking over time. But when we break down the actual timeline of churn, there's three individual buckets that are critical to consider. The first bucket being involuntary churn. You've heard these terms before, but you need to track them individually. Involuntary churn is transactional, meaning that's a billing failure occurs. There's a transaction problem. There's maybe their bank account kind of gets hacked or their card expires or insufficient funds. Involuntary churn is one bucket of churn that it's not related to the quality of your product or the customer experience. But those are things that you need to solve for individually. Number two is what I call quiet quitting. This is very subjective, but it's been the most critical aspect of the churn profile to really think about. Quiet quitting is when people are actually questioning whether or not your product is good, whether or not they actually want it, whether they're on the right plan or the right price point, or are they getting the outcome that they want. We see this very often with people who are on annualized payment plans where they bought something for annual access. Great, it's a great deal. You just got a brand new customer. The year comes back around, but 2 months into their initial journey, they kind of stopped using it or they forgot about it. So when the annual renewal comes back around, they're starting to question, do I even want this product? Is this what I even want? And so it comes to renew. If you auto bill them, that's where you're going to start to get into more voluntary churn, which is the third bucket of churn. That's someone deliberately saying, I don't want to pay you anymore. I don't want this product. I don't want what's happening right now. Like the value exchange is not equal in their mind. And so they say, I want to cancel. Now, across this whole spectrum, of course, that creates your overall churn profile number, the outcome of what is our monthly or annualized churn. But to understand each one of these individual buckets, you could actually have an extremely high involuntary churn and very low voluntary and quiet quitting churn, or the exact opposite, where all of your metrics in your payment processor are reporting to you that you have this big, huge churn problem, but almost all of them being voluntary, transactional things that could be easily solved around. And reporting on that, understanding those numbers at scale is ultimately what helps to feed the story of your customer's journey throughout your product that leads to ultimate outcomes that you want. So if you can break down the churn, instead of thinking about it as an individualized global number, but more in terms of a timeline, of a spectrum, and break these numbers individually, you're going to have a much deeper understanding, a deeper insight into your customer's mindset, into how they're experiencing your product, and how your new customers coming in are going to stick over time.